Rebel City podcast. This week's guest is Leah Lightwarrior. She is an author of book How to Be a Fucking Unicorn. She has got palpable energy. We had a nice discussion about her trip to New York, coming home, dealing with old wounds, living your best life, and generally not giving a fuck about what people think. So I hope you enjoy the podcast. Thanks for listening. I've got to try something a wee bit different. This week's podcast is going to be sponsored by Goal Setting. So instead of getting a sponsor in that's going to give us money to fund the podcast, since it doesn't cost us any money, I'm going to sponsor every week's podcast with a positive mindset or something that might help you with your mental health. So this is the first one since the new year, and I think it's probably an adequate time and an appropriate time to set some goals. So long-term goal setting, set your goals for the year, but make sure that you set some short-term goals, whether that be daily, weekly, monthly. Just make sure that you're setting yourself some goals so that you don't stand still and become static. I spent far too long just coasting through life with absolutely no purpose, no direction, and I'm a massive advocate for goal setting. So 2018 goals, what we're going to do? Well, I'm going to move up a belt in martial arts. I practice 3 martial arts and I want to move up a belt in each one of them. I want to do my best at work, and I've got a set wee plan for being a better person at work. I interact with the public quite a lot, and one of my goals is to leave a good impression with anybody that comes into my shop. So that's just some examples of some goals that I've set myself. I've got some other goals that I'm just going to keep to myself, but I encourage anybody listening to the podcast, please have long-term and short-term goals. And so we'll just move on to the show with Leah, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks for listening. So, hello Leah.
Hi.
How's it going?
So good. Thank you for having me, first of all.
Well, I was going to
thank
say,
you for inviting me along. It's a blessing
problem.
to be
It's
here.
great to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome to Rebel City podcast. We're what would this be? This will be episode 17 or 18. So
nice.
We're quite new. So you've just recently come back for some adventures in New York.
Yes.
And we were talking off camera that you were saying that you were struggling to, it was like a sort of coming back down to earth type thing, coming back to Glasgow.
Yeah, not even that. I mean, I have heard a lot of people say, like, when I came back from New York, oh, it's back to reality then, as in, oh, back to your miserable life. And I'm like, I actually don't have a miserable life, because I know that life is am I allowed to swear on here? Life is a fucking blessing. Every single day is a blessing, no matter where you are. It's precious. We're only here for a temporary amount of time. So, I'm not going to let coming back...
geography.
Yeah, I'm not going to let geography determine my happiness. Like, things outside of me determine my happiness. That's what I did before. Like, waited for my happiness, and it's kind of like you look forward to going on vacation, and you're so happy for 2 weeks on vacation. Then you come back home, and it's back to reality, back to miserable. And I'm not fucking miserable, but the only reason I come back here and feel this heavy pain is because, my life up till now has been in Glasgow, and in Glasgow, I am, first of all, so grateful for this place. Like, I have no hatred for this place or anything like that. I'm so grateful because it's made me who I am, because, I've had to build a lot of strength being here. I've never felt like I could be myself here fully. I've always tried to fit in. I was bullied in school by teachers and students. Just a lot of my past is here. My mum went through domestic violence. Everything here, it has been so painful, to be honest with you, but it's built me up for being me, and I'm proud of myself for getting out the other side. But sometimes, when I come back here, especially from New York, a place where that is my home, like, that's where I feel like I belong, and I'm just like so at peace and feel belonging and acceptance, and just like all my friends are there, my social life's there. So yeah, when I come back, it's like the pain kind of comes back up, but I just trust in the universe. I know that where I'm meant to be is exactly where I'm meant to be, and I know that I belong in New York, but I know that I belong here right now. For whatever reason that may be, I just take each day as it comes. And like I said, the healing that's coming up, that just shows me that I'm meant to be here, because it's so painful that I'm like, okay, Leah, what are you still holding on to from your childhood? Why are you still feeling this way? And I'll kind of, trace it back to something, be like, why am I feeling? What's causing that? And it mostly comes back to what other people think of me. So that's been the biggest thing to heal within myself, and also the thing I'm most thankful for, because I think that's the thing that frees you to actually live in your life. You know, I think caring what people think, it happens to, I think, all of us. Like, you know, at one point in our life, we have cared what someone thought. And that's because as human beings, like, we are love and we want love and acceptance from other people. Like, I would fucking love it if everyone in the world loved me, but it's not going to happen. Not for anyone, not for Nelson Mandela, for Jimi Hendrix, not for anyone. Like, no matter how perfect you are, someone's going to say, they're too perfect. Who the hell do they think you are? They are. So it's like, you may as well just be yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you think that when you spend a lot of time in Glasgow, clear my throat, a lot of time in Glasgow, and then you get that, you go away to New York where you clearly feel like you said it's your home,
Right.
and then you come back, do you think, and then you get these feelings, do you think that when you're here, you hit almost like a sort of healing plateau where almost you're not aware of what's going on in the background, and then you get that escape to somewhere where you clearly feel comfortable and you can be yourself, and then when you come back, these things come back up? Do you think that it's almost like your awareness just sort of drifts while you're here, and then you get the escape, and then you come back and it becomes apparent?
I don't think that. I just think more so like they are. I mean, I do have some past there. It's been a big part of my spiritual journey, and even when I'm there, there's still things to heal because of that. Like you've probably read in my book so far, like my spiritual journey really started in New York from a guy that I met there, and every time I went back, I still had healing to do with that. So I still feel pain when I'm in New York as well. It's just part of being a human being.
Yeah.
But I have none of my like childhood past in New York. Like my childhood connection with New York was fantasizing about it and feeling like that's where I'm meant to be. Like, I mean, as a kid, like I watched like Britney Spears and Mary-Kate and Ashley and like all these famous people or whatever. And it's not so much about being famous. It's like, I just knew that was my purpose. I've always known that I'm meant to be a performer. And I've always known that I'm meant to be in New York as well. I've always felt connected. Even as a kid, I would put on an American accent and I would say that I was American. It's just a connection for me. So it's like when I go there, it's like I can fully be me and I can be like my biggest, greatest self and take up space there and be unapologetically like. So for example, right, I really noticed the difference. Like when I'm walking around New York, you know, people will say like, I love your hair, I love your boots, or it be so much love and resonance and us bouncing off each other and just giving compliments and high spirits. And, you know, not many people look at me like I'm a freak there. Whereas when I come here, like I went into Glasgow the other day, and that was the first time in Glasgow for, 6 weeks that I'd been in New York and been used to the way people react to me here. Coming back here and people are like staring at me, pointing at me, laughing at me. And, that doesn't bother me anymore, but it really made me like, damn. And I think, what I feel is it's like, if you shine here, it's like, who the hell does she think she is? She's getting too big for her boots. That's kind of the Scottish mentality. And I really want to like change that because we are all fucking great. It's not just me prancing about in my cowboy boots like I'm better than all of you. It's absolutely not. No. I know that the only way that I can inspire the greatness in other people who aren't other people who are one with me is by being the greatest me, because then that'll remind them of the greatness within themselves, or it'll fucking piss them off, which is, something to do with them and not me. Like if someone's reacting badly to me or anything like that, I don't take it personally because I know that they probably wish that they could, dye their hair green and walk about like, do you know what I mean? Like, so that bothers them. So, that's why I'm so determined to just keep shining while I'm here, not allow myself to play small, because it is the temptation of hiding in my house and playing small. Because when I was a kid, when I wanted to be great and be like singing in the playground and stuff, I'd be like, who does she think she is? And I wasn't thinking I was better than anyone else. I was just sharing my gift and hoping that other people would do the same, but it's just not worked out that way so far. So it's like when I come here, it's like I almost feel that temptation of just like being so small, because it's like I won't bother people, and I'm like, no, I want to bother people because that's the only way I'm going to help them.
I mean, that's something that kind of resonates with me. I've been quite fortunate in my adult life not to have too many concerns about what other people think about me. And that can be quite jarring for some people because, and I think you kind of nailed it, where people look at you and you're being unapologetically you, whether that be, in whatever circumstance it happens to be. I think it brings out something in them that somebody thinks to themselves, well, I want to be like that, and I'm
Right.
no. And I think that's where the resentment and the judgment comes from. And I definitely kind of see that when we talk about, you know, Scottish mentalities and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I think
Like,
it's Scottish or British.
I think British.
Yeah.
I think it's a British mentality. I think in the
Definitely.
UK we've got a really, I mean, we see it in our tabloid journalism where anybody that does anything that is either outside the norm,
Right.
I don't know what's going on in my throat. I better not be getting your cold. Or actually achieving something, we want to just destroy them.
yeah, look at
Right.
Raheem Sterling this week. So, international footballer, young black man, says he was subject to massive racist abuse, and you've got guys, white guys, middle aged, Piers Morgan, millionaire, telling him, "Come on and we'll debate it." And you're like, "What do you mean you'll debate him? Like, what valid points do you have that will negate, you know, this boy's experience of racism as a white rich man?" You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but aye, that's that boy saying, "This is, I can't take this anymore. I need to speak out. I need to talk about this." And we've got that. Well, who do you think you are? You're just a
Wow.
footballer. Like, simmer down. You know what I mean? And maybe a different scenario, but I think a
Yeah.
similar thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Looking at, I mean, I follow you on Instagram and
Thank you.
I'll link your social media and stuff down below. I think that looking at your time in New York, it actually shifted a bit of perspective for me. I've been a subscriber that cities don't work, that we living on top of each other is just a sort of bad way. That like humans should
Right.
have a wee bit more room, a wee bit more spaced out.
Yeah.
And listening to you speak about sort of New York, because I would have expected New York to be exactly that, especially Manhattan.
Right.
Exactly that. It's just like people are angry. They, you know, like they don't feel safe because they're in this sort of city setting and they don't
Yeah.
know anybody. But I think, well, like I said, the shift has came for me that I think that you if you feel like that, it might not just be the city setting. It might just be that you're in the wrong city
Right.
or that you don't feel at home where
Yeah.
a lot of us are forced to live
Right.
due to economics and work and
Yeah.
these different things. I mean, if you look at LA, for example,
I love LA.
but I think as a place, it's kind of toxic. It's
Right.
got this horrible toxic
There is a
vibe.
different energy in LA to New York, I must admit. There is.
Yeah, and I think that's where that idea for me had come up, that we shouldn't be living in cities, that we should be
Right.
more...
I'm the opposite. I love big cities like Toronto. I love London. Like, love obviously Glasgow. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
like...
like it's the hustle and bustle, the pure energy. It does it for me.
Well, it's sorry to interrupt you, but I used to be like right. So before my spiritual awakening, I was such a city girl. Like I just want to be in the city, totally different way than now. But I want to be in the city, going shopping, doing all this stuff that's like kind of force fed to us in the media and stuff like that. That I thought made you cool or whatever. And then when I had I hated nature, by the way, absolutely hated it. My mum would drag me out of my bed to go walks and stuff. So then I had my spiritual awakening, and I would say, last year, 2017, was when I really found myself within nature and really connected and found who I am as part of nature. And then I started to have this resistance towards cities, which made me like, oh my God, my beloved New York, am I not going to love it there anymore? So I went back in May after I'd wrote my book and everything, and it was like my first time back for a while. And I kind of didn't like it at first because I was in that mindset of humans belong in nature, like this is because that's what I'd experienced, and I was in a totally different mindset. Whereas this time when I went back to New York, I've kind of found my middle ground between being, you know, knowing that I'm from this star system and also being a human being right now on Earth and being part of society. I kind of took myself away from society all of last year, really isolated myself, but then it got really hard to like come into town and stuff like that, to even come in and get paints because I would be so anxious. I'd just wish I was in the forest. So yeah, like I've really evolved as a human being to be able to love and embrace both the city and nature. Because you know, when I found that connection to nature, I was so against cities, and I was just like, no, we need to bring the earth back to the way that it's meant to be and stuff. But it's like I can actually just find what I love about it, and you know what I love about New York is it's like it's so creatively free. There's so many opportunities. Like, you know, I'm singing out there, and I'm singing in the place where Jimi Hendrix was discovered. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's magic. Like. And like I said, just walking the street and feeling more accepted and being able to be bigger, more expressive, and yeah, just like every day was an adventure, just going out of the house. But now I'm like, you know, you can bring that anywhere where you are, you know, and I'm kind of sitting in my house, like, you know, my depression came back up as soon as I got back. First few days, I'm like, oh my God, I'm here and I've never liked it here, and just feeling that resistance. So then I wrote down, you know, how do I feel when I'm in New York? What do I love about New York? And, you know, everything's for the feelings. So I looked at the feelings and I'm like, okay, how can I create these feelings every day, even when I'm in Glasgow or wherever I am in the world? Because I have to be happy wherever I am. Even though New York's my favorite place, I'm not going to be there 24/7 my whole life. Like, I want to tour the world and everything. So it's genuinely getting to the feelings and how can you create those feelings every single day of this precious life. But it's also knowing, you know, you can't be happy all the time. Like I said, I'm grateful that I'm not happy here because it's shown me my pain so that I can heal it, so that I can evolve. Like, you know, I'm not all about good vibes only. Like, get away from me with that shit, because it's not realistic. Like, you're actually pushing down your pain and just pretending to be happy. Like, how are you ever going to heal it if you don't face it? So
I had a conversation about unconditional happiness yesterday, and the idea of unconditional happiness, and it was I think, was he a monk? Was it a Buddhist monk? The guy that was talking about the unconditional happiness? Just a spiritual person, and he said if you offered a human being unconditional happiness, the average human would say, yeah, I want that. But then when you say, well, that means that if everybody around about you dies and you're the only person left on earth, you need to be happy, because that is what unconditional, that's a condition of your happiness, is your family, your house, and human beings need that. So the idea that, and I think this is a problem that we're facing in 2018, is that if you're not happy all the time, then you're depressed, in air quotes. And
it's a bad thing. Like,
but if you have just suffered redundancy, divorce, close death, you should feel depressed.
Right.
It should be a
it's
feeling
normal.
that you need to heal. And I'm wondering, after listening to that podcast, I was wondering, how is that going to affect us in the future if we are constantly numbing ourselves to pain, when in fact as human beings we need pain, so that we can experience joy and appreciate what joy is. That was something that had come up just when you're saying, like, the sort of unlimited happiness and sort of not acknowledging the painful situations that we find ourselves in.
And, you know, for me, I feel like our purpose here on earth, we came as a soul, and we came for our soul to grow, and our soul doesn't grow without pain, without darkness. Like, if we're happy all the time, how are we ever growing? How are we ever changing? How are we evolving? We're not. So our soul's not going to be evolving if there's nothing to help it evolve. And I think that's the illusion about enlightened people or spiritually awake people, that they're just going to be happy all the time. But that's not the case. Being enlightened, awake, whatever you want to call it, it just makes pain a lot easier, because you're able to have that higher perspective on it, rather than becoming consumed by it and identified by it. Like, you know, I don't walk around defining myself, I am depressed. I just know when I feel depressed, I go, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling like this? And I can trace it back to something in my childhood, because we came here as pure love, and then things that happen in our childhood is what can take that away. Like, you know, we're told this is what's acceptable, this is what you should be, this is how you're going to gain love, this is what's not acceptable, and no one's going to love you, and you're going to be rejected if you do that. So it's like we go into that box and we do something like that, we're rejected, we learn it's not okay to be ourselves and do that thing because it's not accepted. And that's when all of our wounds, and we're all walking about with wounds, every human being, we're all walking about with wounds, and we can trigger each other, and it can be painful, and we can try and defend our wounds. But it's like, you need to get to a place where you stop trying to defend yourself. You actually now recognize when I'm defending myself, and I go, why are you defending yourself, Leah? What's the pain that you're trying to cover up? And just being unafraid to just get to the depths of myself. Like, this year, I feel especially, I have been to the darkest, deepest, most horrible parts of myself. I've been suicidal many times this year. And, you know, that's like, I'm just grateful that I'm strong, because I know that some people can feel that way and they will just end their life. Whereas I have the higher perspective. I'm like, I'm going to die as Leah Brooklyn anyway, so why would I want to end my life any sooner? But, you know, I'm able to recognize, okay, it's not that I want to end my life, it's that I want to be aligned with who I truly am. Because why people end their lives? Because they want to get back to source again. They want to get back to being who they truly are. And if I can just heal the wound I can get back to being who I truly am, and I can change my life. So it's not that we want to end our life. We just need to change something in our life to live a better life. Like, you know, depression, anxiety, any bad feelings, they are opportunities. They're not negative things. They're opportunities for us to grow. So it's like changing our mindset about how we feel when we're depressed. It's like, it's not over. Your life's not over. No. You don't have to kill yourself. You don't have to be in a pit and hide in your bed. I mean, I do recommend doing that for a few days and not feeling guilty about it, letting yourself feel the way you feel. But then, okay, why do I feel this way? How can I change? And literally just forcing yourself to even just go out and exercise, clear your head, start meditating, do something that makes you happy. You really have to force yourself, because we can get into that place where we enjoy the pain. We enjoy feeling sorry for ourselves. We enjoy other people feeling sorry for us, because it's like we're getting love. Definitely. So some people learn, you know, the only way they can get love is by being depressed, by feeling sorry for themselves. And people will come flocking with cards and flowers or whatever. But it's like, you need to give up the act of being a victim and take responsibility for your own healing and experience true happiness, not, you know, temporary, you know, people feeling sorry for you kind of love. Like, all the love we need is within us, and it's just up to us to bring that out of ourselves.
It's almost this. It's, I think, the difference between happiness and peace, like inner peace, and people want to be happy and want to be able to.
But it comes with being at peace with yourself.
Yeah,
right.
You know
Exactly.
what I mean? Like the whole thing, and again, as you say, it's one of the things I advocate, and we touched on it with our previous guest, Mela, like he was, you know, a fail coach, and it's about, you know, running into brick walls at full speed and expecting to get through them. Like, you know, it's not always going to be the case, but, you know, you can build yourself up and become stronger. Like, failure, pain are all things that make us stronger and that we should embrace. And like, it's something that particularly resonates with me. It's how I consider, as you say, you know, depression, anxiety, whatever it is, that they should be embraced, and that you should be all right to feel that you're still you when you're in these situations.
It's okay,
you know what I mean?
not to be okay.
Yeah.
Literally, it's as simple as it is.
Yeah.
You don't stop being yourself in these situations. You know what I mean? Like,
That makes me actually a wee bit afraid, because we're going down this road of diagnosing kids with these sort of mental health issues or ill health. And I think that it's in the pursuit of profit, because we're trying to sell drugs and we're getting kids on things like Xanax and and when you're going through those developing years, like you had said earlier, a lot of trauma comes for your childhood. A lot of the long-term sticking trauma comes for your childhood. There's a good saying, I think it was Young, or I think it was Young, that said it, that we're all born prince and princesses, but it's our parents and environment that turn us into frogs. That's just that sort of idea in the healing community, that all humans start in a base same level. Nobody's born like angry, nobody's born destructive or racist or a murderer. You get people that will say they've always been like that, and it's just like, it's a no, it's a hard no.
This is like what I've been doing recently. Not that I've been sticking up for murderers, but now it's like, I understand murderers. I get why they're murderers. Do you know what I mean? And I'm saying that to people, and like, oh my God, Leah, that's a terrible thing to say. I'm like, no, it's not. They started just like us as a baby of pure love, and they maybe had parents that were fucked up, and they fucked them up too, because they taught them this is what's right and this is what's wrong. It is all about your environment as a child, because you're just looking to other people and learning how to be, and it's like, you know, there's a lot of people that have just closed their hearts to love, because they've learned that love is going to hurt them, because they're going to try and give out love, and it's not going to be accepted, and it mostly stems from their parents. Like, you know, say a man, you know, never got love from his mother as a child. He will spend his adult life probably maybe overly having sex with females, or harming females physically, or being a rapist or a murderer to the extreme, because they see every female as their mum that didn't love them. So they're taking it out on them. And until they heal that within themselves, they're never going to actually be able to have a loving, you know, it's like, you don't even have to be in your mum's life. If your mum hurt you as a kid and she's toxic energy, just forgive her energetically. Just be like, I forgive you, mum, for projecting your pain onto me, because she was also born as a pure, innocent being of love. And do you know what I mean? It's just, it's that cycle. It's like, this is where the cycle ends. I'm going to break this cycle, and it's up to me to heal myself. I'm not blaming my mum anymore. I'm not blaming my dad. I'm not blaming the school system. I'm taking responsibility for my healing. And it's a fucking hard thing to do. You have to be very, very courageous to say, you know, I'm going to do that, to admit, you know, I don't love myself. I need to heal myself, because it's like we're all out there trying to be perfect, pretending we're perfect, wearing this mask like nothing's wrong, meeting people and just like hiding and having like, and it's weird. I can see it in people now because I can read energy. Like I can see when they're not being real with me and they're trying to hide something. It's weird. And I used to do the same thing. Like I would go and meet up with friends and I wouldn't tell them that I was anxious or anything. I would be like, oh yeah, and this happened and that happened and this, do you know what I mean? Because it's like you're trying to impress each other so that you get acceptance instead of actually just opening up and being real.
Yep.
Because we've learned that it's wrong to not be perfect.
Yeah. How do you deal with because you're very out open on your social media and you're very honest, and I think we've got maybe one here, you've posted pictures of yourself with no makeup and you don't use filters, which is a good sort of leading by example, I think, for other women. How do you deal with the negative sides of social media? Because you were just saying there about the masks, and we've spoke, this is a common theme on the podcast, is this sort of projected reality that people put out themselves. Facebook, people, I've had situations where I've been at parties and there's people that have sat in the corner and not said 2 words to me, but then the next day I've woke up and they're tagging everybody on their Facebook and going, I had such a great night with my besties. And they're just sitting thinking, I didn't really speak to you last night. Where's that came from? But also there's, when you put yourself out there on the internet, you put yourself out there for both the positive and the negative. And I've seen you out people that can come at you with negativity. So how do you actually deal with that and not let it sort of weigh you down? Yeah,
I mean, first of all, I set boundaries, which I never used to do before. I was such a people pleaser and would just want everyone to think I was nice and follow everyone. Like, it's like, there's some people I know in person and I have love for everyone. Let's just say that. Everybody. I don't care if you've done me wrong or you're doing me wrong in the present. I love you, but I don't want you in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, there's some people I don't follow on social media that I'll see in person and I have mad love for, but it's like, I don't want to see what you're doing every day. I only follow people on social media that inspire me in some way, or, you know, spiritual accounts. So first of all, I make sure that I've got that so that I don't have to see toxic energy and let it bother me. And it's not that it bothers me in a different way now, because it bothers me because then I like psychologically analyze people and want to help them, because I'm like, I can see why you're doing that, and especially women. Like, I'm so passionate about helping women, and I feel like I can see clearly when a woman doesn't love herself now. I can see it because I've been there, and it's not me being judgmental. But I kind of turn judgmental when I don't mean to be, because I want to help so much. So I really have to set boundaries for myself. And even with answering messages, like all the messages I get, you know, I used to feel like I had to start helping people. Like, people would message me with questions like, oh, I need your help with this, that. And I would always answer them. And that's my time and energy. So now, I do like spiritual coaching and I charge for it because that's my gift. Like, whereas before I felt like I had to give it to people just cause. And I'm like, no, like, it's like being a hairdresser or anything. Like, I'm just it's just obviously a majorly different thing. But I thought it made me a bad person to not give everyone advice that messaged me. But it's like, no, I have to put myself first. I can't drain my own energy.
You need to take care of your own needs as well, because if you're out there and you're writing books and you're giving people advice on spirituality, you need to take care of yourself financially. I think that there's a lot of the times when people are out there, like coaching, for instance. Coaching's a word that I love and hate, because a good coach can be impactful and make radical change in people's lives. But a bad coach can also keep somebody dangling and just a wee bit more money to give you the next level and the next level and the next level. So it's a word and a concept that I both love and hate. Right.
This is kind of what I felt like. If I start charging people for advice and stuff like that I would become one of those, and it's just about the money. And for a long time I thought it's not spiritual to love money, it's not spiritual to want money, and I really had to fix that belief within myself, because I've grew up, money is the root of all evil, money doesn't come in abundance, it's limited, be scared of it, bills, all of this fear around money. I've really had to reprogram how I feel about money. And the way I see money now is it's an energy exchange. You know, like I would love to be in a world where we could all trade with each other, but unfortunately it's not realistic, because, you know, if I want your house but I only have a bar of chocolate. You're not going to want to exchange that. That's where money comes in. So it's a good tool.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if I can exchange people, like sometimes I'll make people a jacket if, you know, they have something that I want. And it's like, I love doing it that way. But, you know, most of the time it's like, there's nothing that you can really exchange with me because I don't really want for much. But, you know, your money is just exchanging for my gift. It's not an evil or bad thing. It doesn't make me greedy. It's like, I need money to live in this world and this is my gift and this is what I'm sharing. Like, you know, I'm not afraid to say that I am going to be a rich woman. I am already a rich woman abundantly in spirit, and that is going to manifest in my life because I want to live my best life here. I want to help other people. It's no longer about my ego and wanting flashy cars and big houses and lavish lifestyles. I don't care about that anymore. But there's a lot of rich people in the world who are not good people and are not doing good with their money, and I want to do good with my money. Like if I have that power, I want to be able to help people. I want to set up self-love schools. Like I want to spread everything that I do as far and wide as possible. And in the world that we live in just now, I need money for that. So it's like,
Of course.
it
That's
is
like going back to what you
reprogramming
were
your
saying at the
mind.
start, that you need to be living the modern world and be practical.
It needs to be.
You can disconnect yourself. So that's going back to what you were saying about your last year. If you don't charge money and I get that sort of principle because I came from a working class background, as did Matt, and that was one of the messages I got from my mum was that money is the root of all evil. And it is technically true, but it's no really, because money's a concept and we've made it ourselves. And it isn't inherently evil. It's the way that we use it.
Exactly.
Like
It's who's using it or the way it's using
thing.
it.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
like it's a great tool, like I said.
In terms
like,
of the coaching and stuff like that, obviously in previous podcasts we've touched on the kind of self-love thing. It makes me massively uncomfortable because I know there's work that I need to do in that area.
Right.
But one of the things that's been interesting to me about obviously yourself is the sort of spirituality that you've been talking about, because I know we've looked at, you know, mindfulness and meditation and all the various things that, you know, can contribute towards a better self. But one of the things we've not really touched on is the sort of spiritual side of things. So you've said that you had like a spiritual awakening. Like, have you always been spiritual? Was it a light bulb moment? What actually? Because it's something I don't personally I kind of relate to it.
Yeah, for me now, I can. It's cool because I can look back on my journey and see the little parts of me who were my true self through my life. So in school, I guess the equivalent to knowing that there was more to life was me walking around. So it would be like in PSE, they would be asking, "What do you want to do as a career?" And I wrote down, "I'm going to be a superstar." And I would get up in class and be like, I'm going to be a superstar singer, dancer, choreographer, actress, fashion designer. And they would all just start laughing at me. And my teacher would be like, I think you should do something more realistic, Leah. Have you got a plan B? Like constantly people would tell me, you got a plan B? You got a plan B? And I'd be like, no, my plan B is to make plan A happen because I have this one life, this precious short life, and I ain't settling for something that I don't want. Like singing lights me up, being on stage lights me up, and that's how I know that's what I'm meant to be doing. So I guess like dreaming big always as a kid, and then having people tell me that I couldn't do that, and I would be like, but this person did it and this person did it. What makes them any different from me? So I had that through school. And I've always been a very positive person as well. I've always been a very caring and loving person, but I learned in school, especially like school is like my hugest amount of pain, like wow. But I learned in school that it wasn't a good thing to be nice and caring and loving, like that I was weird as fuck. Like when I wanted to cuddle my friends, like she's pure clingy and she's a pure weirdo and she's probably a lesbian because she wants to kiss me and all that. And that's also what stopped me. Like I came out as bisexual just a few months ago. That stopped me from doing that. I had to trace that back from learning that when I gave love or compliments to girls, like I love women. I admire women. And I've always, even as a kid, been like, you're beautiful. And they would be like, oh, that's so weird. So I learned that it's not okay to be loving and be nice. So I guess I've always had that in me, and I've just always longed for something more. And my catalyst to my spiritual awakening was I was in a relationship from when I was 16 to 18 and then 18 to 21. Just before I was 21 actually. And when we broke up, I was like, oh my God, I haven't had this crazy single clubbing, getting wrecked, having sex with a bunch of boys kind of life that everyone my age has. And I felt like I was missing out. I didn't particularly want that.
Yeah.
But I thought that I did because everyone else was doing it, and it made me weird that I hadn't done that yet, and I better just do it.
Yeah.
So like I got a job in a nightclub, which I loved at the time because I didn't have self-love. And when I was going to a nightclub and all these boys were giving me attention, like boys have never liked me. All through school, any boy I had a crush on, Leah's fat, Leah's ugly, Leah's the hanger on. Like I felt like I was disgusting. Every time I went home, I would look at myself in the mirror and be like, oh my God, I asked my mum if I could get a nose job, a boob job, everything. I really hated myself. And I learned that from other people.
Okay.
You're gonna have to remind me where I was.
Just about your spiritual awakening and kind of where that came from.
Right, okay, so yeah, so I started working in a nightclub, loved all the attention I got off boys and everything like that. It was exactly what I needed at that point in my life. And then I went out to Magaluf,
Okay.
where I'd never wanted to go. Like I seen everyone going party holidays and everything, and I'd be like, oh, that's so gross. I never want to do that. So it was like everyone that I was working with, they were all doing that kind of thing. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna go do it and just have sex with who I want and be like a man and just one night stands and all that. Like, fuck it, I'm gonna love it. It kind of forced myself to want to love it. So my intention, I think, was to go out there for 3 months. I lasted 3 weeks.
Okay.
First week, I had a great time because I was drunk out of my face, just sleeping with random boys, just for approval, like literally just to feel good enough. Like if a boy fancied me and they wanted to sleep with me, that meant that I was good enough, or that I was worthy, or that they even loved me. Like that is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was starting to get treated like an absolute sexual object. I was doing PR work and my boss was asking me to get my tits out to get customers in. I was about to get sacked from one of my jobs, and the manager, who was like 3 times my age, was like, I won't sack you if you fuck me in this closet right now. And they were all asking me how many people I'd slept with, and when I said it was only 2, they were like, okay, you can sleep with him, and then him. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, no, like I at least was in control of choosing who that I slept with. But I was just like, man, I can't do this. I was longing to have a deep conversation with someone. I didn't, apart from my roommate that I was with, I didn't have deep conversations.
Okay.
I was just like, I'm done with this. Like, this is meaningless. Like, I can't be here any longer. And actually, that's when I was planning on going out to New York to meet that guy. So I went out to New York to meet that guy, felt, oh my God, so deeply in love, deeper than I ever have, even in my 3-year relationship where we were going to get married. This guy took over me, and I came back to Glasgow from being with him for a week, and he was all I could think about. Eat, sleep and breathe. I wanted to kill myself because I wasn't with him. I was drinking bottles of vodka, lying on the floor, crying. I'd made like a playlist of songs that reminded me of him, just playing it on repeat, screaming, having panic attacks. And this lasted, I don't even know how long, I think like 8 months.
Wow.
8 months, and my mum was just obviously terrified. Like I was eating so much. I was just like, and so much, I just remember every day I was in so much pain. Like I hardly had any happiness because all I was thinking about was him and the fact that I wasn't with him and that he didn't want me because he just stopped talking to me. And it just really fucked me up. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I got to the deepest hole that I've ever been in and was like this close to going to doctors to get on medication because I thought something was wrong with me, to see a counsellor or whatever. And it was like, suddenly something just switched within me, and I think it was a video about a pineal gland that started it for me. A video about like someone sent it to my mum, who sent it to me, and it was like activation secrets for the pineal gland, and it's called the seat of the soul, the pineal gland. So when you talk via your pineal gland, you know, you're in tune with your soul. And it was just like something clicked within me, like, oh my God, this is what's been hidden from us this whole time. And from there, it was just like down the rabbit hole, as they say, like different books, just different healing coming up. And I can't even explain what's happened. But since then, so that was like 3 years ago, these past 3 years, like, oh my God, like I've became myself.
Yeah.
I had to take away all the layers of who that I'm told that I am and who that I'd built myself to be, and actually find myself. And I would say it was at some point last year I really found myself, but this year has been like properly like when I wrote my book, I was so depressed, and I'd went to this it was kind of like a Tony Robbins thing, but it wasn't. It was like someone not less than him, but you know what I mean,
Yeah.
less known. But it was the same kind of thing, and I really needed it. And I'd wanted to write a book for a while. You know, like when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, I'll be a famous singer, then I'll be a fashion designer, then I'll come out with a book about my story, and like thought life had to happen this certain way, and it's went the complete opposite way. But I've always been like, since in my journey, I want to write a self-love book because I've realized the power of self-love. And you know, you hear outside, like, you know, self-love is selfish. You shouldn't love yourself. Like, loving yourself is a bad thing. And I'm like, I really need to reteach this because this is what saved my life and allowed me to find who I really am and my power that we all hold. So I was like, you know, one day I'll write a self-love book. One day.
Yeah.
And I was sat at this conference and the guy said, does any of you have a book within you? And I just automatically felt it speaking to me. And I was like, me? I want to write a book. And he's like, you should just do it. Like, this life is so precious. Just force yourself to do it. And that's why I did it in 2 months. Because I'm like, okay, let's break this down into chapters. What are the main things that help me find who I am? And I put it as a sort of beginner's kind of level. Like, even if you've not had a spiritual awakening, you're not spiritual in any way, you're going to understand this book.
Cool.
I didn't go too deep with it. It's just like a guide. And, you know, I'll probably write more and go a bit deeper. Or I might not write any ever again. Like I'm not like an author or a spiritual teacher. Like I said, I've always wanted to be a performer, but this is just part of my gift and part of my plan for my time here. So
Shelley got a talent for naming books. It's pretty much the best name for I've ever seen in my life.
So the book's
So it is.
called How to Be a Fucking Unicorn.
do you know, I think it was my mum that my mum has a lot of messages for me. Like she channels a lot of things and goes, this is for you, Leah, this is for you. And sometimes I'm not at the point to receive it. And I think one day she said to me, Leah, you should call your book How to Be a Fucking Unicorn. And I was like, why though? Like, why?
Do you think your mum's been a person, because I read in the book that your mum runs and owns a hair salon, like beauticians?
Yeah, it's permanent makeup she does, yeah.
Okay. Do you think your mum's been somebody that's been, because that's creative in itself,
Right.
But do you think she's been more creative and that's why she's tried to cultivate that in you? And
I think also it was kind of the opposite. Like my mum's been a great guide for me and always encouraged me to follow my dreams and everything. But I worked for her for a long time, which I mentioned in the book. And while I was working for her, like, being honest with you, I was fucking miserable. But I stayed because I got good money. It was a safe job. Like I was working for my mum. My mum was my boss, which was kind of hard as well because we would come home and she would still be my boss and we'd fight with each other. But I was miserable being a receptionist, typing and doing emails and stuff. I was doing nothing creative. And it was every day I had such a headache and I was just miserable and I constantly wanted to leave. But I left at exactly the right timing. But it's been like me rebelling as well because, people would say to me, are you going to follow in your mum's footsteps? Because my mum's became like somewhat of a legend in like Glasgow and Scotland. She's like the biggest name in our industry and, a lot of people know who she is. And they would always put that pressure on me, like, you're going to follow your mum's legacy, you're going to take over the business. And I'd be like, I'd really be resistant and be like, no. That's not my gift. That's my mum's gift. Like, I'm a singer. I'm a performer. My mum can't sing for shit. No offense, mum. But like, we're all given different gifts. I am not my mum. And it was that rebel of, I am not my mum. Because I felt like there was so many people around me trying to craft me into her. And then that also made me push my mum away for a long time. Because I'm like, I don't want to be you. I don't want to be you. I want to be me. So even though she's more my best friend now since I've had my spiritual awakening, because she had one as well, and it was like it kind of happened at the same time. So we've been, each other's rock as well through the healing process. And I don't know what I'd do if she hadn't had an awakening, because she would probably have me in a psycho unit by now, like telling people I'm from another star system and all that. She'd be like, what's happened to you? So I'm so like blessed. Like that was obviously planned before I came here. But yeah, it was that rebellion of I'm not going to do what my mum does. So, I eventually said like, I'm quitting my job to follow my dreams. And that's what I've been doing since then. That was last June I quit. Yeah.
When you talk about spirituality, do you come from a religious family?
No.
Because
I don't see I think for me, religion comes from outside of you. Spirituality comes from within.
Do you think that we've got that mixed up? Because I love this term. I'm a recovering Catholic. I say it as much as I can to people. Just say to them, I'm a recovering Catholic. But I grew up rebelling against a religion because, for me, organised religion's just bullshit. It's just nonsense. Forget it. The Bible they're tales that are meant to guide people, but they're nothing more.
Rules made by men.
Yeah. But
And
I
you're
think
putting the
there's a
power
lot-
outside of yourself. You're expecting someone else to save you. Like, you know, Jesus is my savior. Whoever's my savior, your savior is actually within you.
Yep.
And to me, now that I see, I do believe everyone that is spoken about was a real thing at some point, like Buddha, Jesus, Muhammad. I believe they were all real, but what I believe they are is just a reflection of us. They're the greatest us that is within us. Like, they're just showing us this is what we are. We are all gods, but then, you know, it's got mixed up and it's now being like, no, Jesus is my God, Allah's my God, Buddha's my God. But it's like, no, Buddha is within you.
Yeah.
Allah's within you. Like, you just have to find that. And that's what I think Jesus was doing. Jesus was saying, I found God within myself. Like, hear this. I mean, like, I was a born again Christian at one point in my life, which I'm glad I experienced, because at least I have that perspective. But yeah, I was going to church and pretending that I felt something. I was like, why is God not speaking to me and he's speaking to everyone else? And it was kind of a place where, you know, my mum was in a really violent relationship at the time. That was our escape. We were looking for help.
Yeah.
And someone brought us along to church. So it was like, that was a safe place for us to go. And we didn't believe any of it. And, you know, it got to a point in my life where I was like, I don't want to go to church anymore. Like, this isn't me.
Yeah.
But now I kind of see that. But I don't ever, you know, I think at the beginning of my awakening, I was so determined to like spread the truth about religion. But now it's like, that's my truth. If someone chooses to believe in a religion, it makes them happy and it makes them the best version of themselves, then fucking good on you. Keep doing what makes you the best version of you, whether that's religion, whatever it is. See if it's making you have inner peace or whatever it is. But, you know, for me, I see religion just having us all fight with each other and feel like we're separate when we're actually one. It's missing the message.
The whole religion thing is that, you know, the universal message is generally going to just chill the fuck out and be cool. You know what I mean? Like Jesus, or
Love
this
each
is
other.
just simmer down and be cool.
That's it.
And
How,
nobody does that
how can
well.
you claim to be a fundamentalist Christian that's
It's an oxymoron, isn't it? You know what I mean?
that
Like a
doesn't
fundamental.
start with love,
Right.
and in fact is actually destroying things
Yeah.
around about
Yeah,
them. Like the American fundamentalist Christians, that the neoconservatives that bombed Iraq,
Yeah.
for instance, for no other reason other than, well, what they wanted rid of Saddam Hussein.
Yeah.
How can they claim to be a Christian if they don't come for that place of love first and foremost?
Yeah.
Because that is what their religion's built upon. Religion, I'm similar to you, where I want to break people's beliefs in religions, but then you also need to recognise that is that person's way.
Yeah, you have
And
to respect
you
that.
can't-
It's like, you know, I just see it now. Like, I'm not trying to change people anymore in any way. Like, I just want to be me and live my truth. And if you're inspired by that, fucking great.
Yeah.
I'll share it with you. But if you're not, keep going on your path. I'll keep going on mine. And that's again why I don't take anything personally, because people look at me from their beliefs, their views, their religions or whatever. And it is like, you know, like I said at the beginning, like, this is a great book, by the way, if you've not read it or any of the listeners haven't read it, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. That changed my life. But basically it's like, we're born, like I said, as pure beings of love, and then we're told, this is your name, this is your nationality, this is your religion, this is what you believe in, this is what's right and this is what's wrong. And, you know, there's a lot of people that are not being themselves, they're being what they've told to be, and religion's a huge part of that, because it's like, oh, I was born into it, this is who I am. But it's like, but did you choose it? No. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
100%.
that's a huge part with religion as well. And it's like, people push down their pain still with religion. Like, if you're not going within, you are going to keep doing toxic things. But if your religion helps you go within and find who you are, awesome.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, if it keeps telling you to like have that escape, it's like an escape to church, like go and sin at the weekend and then go and beg for forgiveness. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, like confession's one of the things that's almost making it okay to not follow your religion as long as you come back to your religion on a
confuses
Sunday.
me.
You know, and at a time
It's
when
all
we're talking about
fear-based.
backstops, you know, the Catholic Church put a pretty good backstop in with confession, because, you know, you've got basically spiritual absolution, you know what I mean? So you can kill and maim and, you know, abuse and whatever else it happens to be. But if at the end of it you go, look, man, I'm really sorry, Like,
Then
then
you're fine.
it's all good.
Don't worry
Right.
about it. It's like
don't worry about it.
it's
Yeah.
like
You know what
the idea that if somebody comes in when you're dying and says, right, it's okay, don't worry about it, that's all you
You're
need.
gonna go to
I'll just do
heaven.
what I want for my full life as
Right.
long as the priest comes in just before I die and tells
Call
me
my
it's all right.
autobiography,
Yeah.
Deathbed Confessional.
I
you know?
definitely,
But
no.
for me, that idea of religion and the way I grew up with religion made me rebel against spirituality.
Right, because you thought it was the same thing.
That was
Yeah.
that was it. That was spirituality, and I think that sort of love needs to be cultivated and it needs to be nurtured. It's like a plant, and I think that if I'm good to Matt and Matt is good to you, and then you're good to whoever,
Yeah.
then that is how we cultivate
Yeah.
sort of
Right.
good feelings and peace and love and all these different bits and pieces. But in a modern world, like you're saying, that idea is almost seen as like batshit crazy.
Crazy happy shit.
Yeah.
Exactly, like happy clappy.
Right,
And
right. I've
that
been
is
called that many a time.
yeah,
A happy clapper.
and that is why I never really went into spirituality.
Right.
I would say when I rejected religion, I also rejected spirituality because, as you say, pretty much up until about 45 seconds ago, I pretty much considered them the same thing. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
You know what I mean? So I never really thought about the two separately.
Yeah.
What you were saying about the pineal gland's interesting because you were saying earlier on about back to source.
Mm-hmm.
So have you took DMT, magic mushrooms? Are you like
I haven't.
hallucinogenics and everything?
I smoke weed, but I don't need it
Yeah.
to have a spiritual experience. I found it within myself, and it's like, you know, DMT and things like that. They just assist you with doing things like that. I think you can definitely do it without it, but it does help. And I do have the intention of one day of trying it when my soul tells me it feels right. I don't cut it out because I know that it's not a bad drug. Like I know the difference between.
It's
But
a
yeah,
naturally occurring chemical in your brain. Well, it sits in your pineal
exactly.
gland, so and
Yeah.
it releases just before you die. So
Yeah,
it's-
and it's like when you decalcify your pineal gland, you get to release that natural DMT, which
Yeah.
is what I've experienced in connecting with my higher self. You know, I believe we're multidimensional beings, and I have experienced other dimensions.
Okay.
And it's the higher dimensional me that sends me messages to the lower dimensional me.
okay. Have you had
And I guess you
visuals?
could call that God.
Have you had visuals?
Yeah, I have like visuals, but it's mostly just like instinctive messages. And then I'll just
Yeah.
take action on it.
Somebody that we had on about that I've not released yet, but I'm sure I'll release before we put this one out, was a transcendental meditation
Transcendental.
Transcendental.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. I just think about transcending. No,
Right.
transcendental.
Transcending
And,
the ego.
She had said the exact same thing that
Yep.
you had said, that hallucinogenics are a way of
Yeah.
getting to a place where you can get through meditation, through
Just like a quick.
it's
Sex
just a way.
kinda
It's
thing.
just a way of getting you there.
Yeah.
And if you're ever looking for any DMT, I'm sure I could sort it for you. So we've got about 10 minutes left.
Okay.
It's been a really interesting conversation, but I would like to know a wee bit more about like the Goddess Awakening stuff that you do.
Okay.
Because I'd seen that you were doing some days before you left for New York. And then
Yeah.
I think you've got some coming up as well.
Yeah, so I do them with my friend Jen.
I was on her podcast yesterday, and she was on my podcast.
She was telling
last
me
week,
the other
so-
day when she was round.
I
but
literally sat and spoke for an hour and a half with Jen saying about 10 words, and I was like, I'm so sorry, but she was like, no, that's great.
I love her. She's so sweet. Yeah, so like we've teamed up, and you know, originally in the beginning, it was like it's kind of a balance between the two of us. Like, you know, I was in the papers earlier this year because you know, I believe I'm from another star system, and I know some people could see me as batshit crazy, and she's a bit more grounded and normal and can connect to a different audience than me. So it's like us coming together is awesome, and we're both authors. But the Goddess Awaken is it's a movement that's gonna be worldwide, and it's just gonna be, it's about, you know, I agree with feminism in a way, but this is like a new feminism that's for everyone. Like this is, for me, the real feminism. It's about the divine feminine within all of us. Like we all came from a woman. We all actually started as a woman. Like men only become men. I can't remember how long into the process, but we're all women basically. And I believe that balance is so important within all of us, even with men. And you know, what's in power in the world right now is actually toxic masculinity.
Yep.
And you know, a lot of people think it's men in charge. It's actually not men in charge. It's toxic men, which is not good. And I believe the healing of toxic masculinity is the rising of divine femininity. So, you know, my vision for the Goddess Awakened is about teaching self-love and divine feminine within all of us and being in tune with that. And also the divine masculine. Like I really had to build that within myself. Because I was a bit too feminine, and hadn't had that masculine side of myself. So it's for everyone, even though it's the Goddess Awakened. It's about activating that side of you for everyone. So it's like all of our events, men can come too, but they are all self-love based, because I truly believe self-love is the healing of the world, and so does Jen. So we're really just teaching women and men, and it has been women so far, to love themselves. And you know, I only know how to teach that because I've been through it. You know, I'm not spouting some shit that I've just maybe learned online, and like I've actually done it for myself, and I know who I was and who I am now, and therefore I can relate to, you know, most of women. I know what the struggles women go through are, the expectations of looks, especially with like the Kardashian stuff around just now. It's a fucking hard time to be a woman. So I just want to help women love who they are, whatever that means to them. You know, I feel like a lot of feminism puts you in a box, and it's whatever it means to you to be a female. Like, you don't have to not shave your armpits, you don't have to dress like a man, or you don't have to hate men, or do you know what I mean? Like, whatever it means to you to be the best woman you can be and have the balance of the divine feminine in you, like that's what I want to teach. So
do you think that radical feminism, or what we consider feminism in 2018, because this is kind of like my opinion, is the strive to push women to be more like men. It's not about the flourishment of women being women. It's about women
pushing men out and being as powerful as men. We can do what men can do. Actually, you shouldn't be doing that, because we have both for a reason. The divine masculine's good at certain things, and so the divine feminine, and also having the balance of them both. It's not about we don't want that. We need the rise in the divine feminine in the world. That's why the world's the toxic masculinity is what's, I believe, destroying the world within human beings. Like, and it's the rising of Mother Nature, Mother Earth, motherly, nurturing, loving energy that we all need to embrace. And you know, like you said, like saying we can do what men can do. It's just like, and also I have to say something that's gonna be very controversial, but I don't believe in equality. I believe women are superior because women bring life onto the fucking planet. And like I said, we all start as a woman. So I think it's not even about equality. It's about knowing what women are for and what men are for. Like, and the divine ways.
Allowing men and women to do the same job,
yeah,
the same pay,
respect each other,
acknowledge
and
the uniqueness of each individual.
Right. Like, yes, of course women can do what men can do, but like we have both energies for a reason. We have to help each other and complement each other and unite. So it's like, I don't believe in equality, but I believe in fucking unity.
Yeah.
I believe in unity.
Yeah. I think that if you get into the actual detail of equality and what people are striving for, I think that definitely go and try and have equality opportunities. Like, all men and all women should have the same opportunities in life and the same educational opportunities. Whatever you want to do, you should be able to do it.
Exactly.
But to force equality, as in, if you have 5 men working in the fire brigade and the police and the army, you need to have 5 women, it won't work. It just won't work, because it will cause an imbalance in itself.
Right.
That equality doesn't actually rear its head anywhere in nature. Yeah. So I think that for me, when I look at these things, something that I've started to do is think about, where does this occur in nature? Yeah. I know it sounds stupid, but in the jungle, like, does the lion and the lioness have equality? No. Like, because they are both there to do a different job. Right. Yeah. And I'm with you on that. Like, I think that the radical feminists are looking at what men have got, which is power. Yeah. And they want that power. Right. But they're not realizing that it's actually it's destroying women. It's actually like,
it's destroying everything. And I think
it's destroying everything. It's the equilibrium between men and women is completely fucked just now, and men are thinking that what it means to be a man is to go out and punch fuck at somebody in the street, and women think that
Toxic masculinity.
as a woman, I should be trying to get into the boardroom and dominate men.
No.
And it seems a bit sort of like off to me. And
Right.
I think that, like you had said, that men need to tap into their femininity and women need to tap into their masculinity, kind of
Right.
like the yin and the yang. A woman should be majority like femininity with a touch of masculinity,
Yeah,
and a man
balance.
should be totally
Yeah.
majority masculine with a touch of that sort of chaos and order and chaos.
Yeah.
So what type of things do you think that a man can do to tap in? Because this is something I always ask people.
Right.
How does a man tap into his feminine side? How does a woman tap into her masculine side without it becoming too much or too toxic?
Yeah. I think you have to first, find what that means to you.
Okay.
Because I think even like with feminism, like they're rebelling against women being mothers and being housewives and stuff. But some women love being a mother and a housewife. That's their divine feminine. It's certainly not my divine feminine, but it's theirs. So it is respecting that each woman is an individual and what makes her feel happy. Like I feel best as a woman when I'm wearing a suit and cowboy boots, which is pretty masculine, but that makes me feel my best self as a woman. So it is finding what works for you. But I think the most important thing with men is being in touch with your emotions and knowing that it's okay to cry. Like boys don't cry. Like you're gay, you're a poof, which obviously is not a bad thing at all, but it makes men who are straight resistant because they think it's a bad thing to be gay. So I'm not going to cry because that makes me gay, which they've learned as a child is a bad thing. Or wearing pink or something like that is like all these weird beliefs that we've put in our head need to be shattered. Like men are human beings just as much as women are, and men cry just as much as women do. Like for me now, like with a partner, like I have to be with a man who's in touch with his feminine energy in whatever way that is to him, but I have to be with a man who can be emotional around me, who can be completely expressive in every way and not be ashamed to cry or want to lean on my shoulder, want me to give him a cuddle and make him feel better. Like, it's kind of learned like men need to kind of build up all their emotions and just like put them all away and maybe fight it out or go and have a drink and forget about it. And if you actually talk about it, it's like, oh, you're getting a bit deep there. Like, I feel like men are afraid of that part of themselves because they think it makes them weak, but I actually think it makes you so much stronger. If I see a man who's being emotional, I think he's way stronger than a man who's going out punching in the street to get all his emotions out rather than actually just opening up and crying.
It freaks people out though, because I mean, in this last year, I've had emotional conversations with Matt. I've had emotional conversations with other friends. I've had a couple of friends go through breakups and just life in general. And when you lead by that sort of example and you encourage the emotions to come out, you can actually see the discomfort in somebody. But it only exists for so long. And then eventually that breaks down.
It's like not being afraid of that uncomfortable place, not being afraid of being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is so strong. It's so strong. And like I said, I learned in school that being vulnerable made me weak and made me unwanted and unworthy. Now I'm like, being vulnerable makes you so, and that's why I cry so openly on my Instagram and my vlogs. I've got one vlog where I'm like so depressed the whole vlog and I'm crying about how I feel. People are afraid to show that side of themselves and want to show like, I'm in LA and I'm having such a good time. But like, I'm in LA and I'm seeing my friend just died and I've not been able to like really comprehend it. But it's like, hiding that emotional part of yourself and putting that fake persona on social media. I don't want a fake, I don't have a fake social media. I share what I want to share, and I share, like, if I want to say something and I've got no makeup on or I look a riot, I'll just say it anyway, because I'm like, I don't care what people think of me anymore. I don't need anyone to fancy me. I love myself. I know that I'm hot. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel good about myself inside and out, and I'm not afraid of what people think about that. Whereas, like, in the past, I thought I was so ugly. I didn't love myself, so I wouldn't dare put anything on any social media of anyone seeing me in any sort of like spotty or no makeup on or whatever. But it's like, we're human beings, for God's sake. Like, you're not gonna look and be perfect all the time. You're gonna have bad days and good days, and show all of it, because it makes other people like that's what a lot of people say to me. Like it makes me feel so much better seeing you be just real. Like people know that I'm real. Like, I'm not putting on this fake. I had a spiritual awakening. I'm so perfect. I'm happy all the time. And I'm like, no, this is how I felt today. I mean, some things I'll keep to myself because it's my life. Like I don't want to share everything.
Still entitled to privacy.
I had to give myself boundaries, but it's like if I want to share something, I feel it's going to help someone, I'll share it and I'll be so vulnerable. I was just crying on my live last week because I started doing the live and this guy came on and started like picking on me. Okay. And I felt vulnerable just going into the live, but then it reminded me of my childhood because I always had boys, pick on me and like take the piss out of me and stuff. So this boy, I don't even know what he's saying, but he basically like, who do you think you are thinking you can heal people? And oh my God, you're so inspirational, like taking the piss. But it was like the way people used to bully me in school. Yeah. And suddenly I just started crying and I wasn't even afraid that he was watching me. I was just like, I need you to see this because you clearly have pain inside of you that you're trying to project on me for whatever reason I'm triggering out of you. But I want you to know that I love you and you're amazing and you are the universe. You're just as great as anyone else. You just need to find that greatness within yourself. And obviously me, projecting my greatness and saying that and being real is really triggering you, so you really need to look into that. But also I'm gonna block you because I don't want this shit on my page. I don't have to put up with your shit, like I really don't.
Well, that's our hour up, so I think that's a good way to end it.
Don't have to put up with your shit.
I love you, but I'm blocking you. Fuck off.
Word.
Do you want to just tell people where they can find you? I'll put links on YouTube and SoundCloud and iTunes and all that.
Perfect. Yeah. My Instagram page is Leah Brooklyn. Same with my SoundCloud. It's got my music on it. And I've got a few other pages that are on my Instagram page, and my YouTube is Leah Luna or Leah Brooklyn. You'll find me as well, which is like my music, some vlogs that I did, and some talking about spiritual topics, which I call Luna's Lessons.
I genuinely
think
my
clothing
your
line.
leather jackets are fucking outstanding.
Thank you so much. I'm so passionate about it. I'm so excited. Yeah,
I think the clothes are cool.
It's all about being you.
They're just out there. And
right. It's like, don't be afraid to show how fucking amazing you are. I just want to spread that in the world. Like everyone wearing, not everyone, but like so many people wearing those jackets and spreading love, like having positive messages on it and colour in the world. And yeah, like I'm so excited.
It's a good goal to have.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. Brilliant. It's been awesome. So thanks good. Thank you so much.